You're gonna go away to school.
Yes.
And when you're all grown up, we're gonna do what we're doing now at 17. We're gonna make films, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
I love it.
Here on the Central Coast.
You know, I want to ask Rich a question. Forgive me if this question is too much behind the scenes, but do you learn most of your tricks or do you create them? How does that work?
That's a great question. I think it's a lot like if someone plays music, you learn a few chords and then you can create. So there's a lot of fundamentals in magic, different like techniques of hiding a card, switching an object, and things like that. But when it comes to human behavior, you really can't practice it in the mirror. You have to do it live, and you learn by doing. It's like taking a watch. You can read about it in a book. You're not going to get good at it unless you go out and you actually do it to real people. Card tricks you can practice in a mirror. Illusions you can practice in a room. So the kind of magic I do, you kind of have to do it live. So two sides of your question. Yeah, there's little fundamental building blocks that you learn through the industry, but the real stuff, the good stuff that I do, you can only learn and create by doing.
I've seen your magic. I moved here probably a little over 15 years ago, and I feel like a lot of what I know of you is the magic. In the last 5, 6, 7 years, we're seeing more of the pranks. What gives you more satisfaction in the moment? Is it the magic, or is it the pranks?
Watching movies. If I'm being honest, I think creating something new and it works. It doesn't matter if it's a prank or a social experiment or a magic trick or a bar bet. I really don't care, to be honest.
If you got questions, get your hands ready because we're going to throw it out to you in just a moment. I got a couple more really quick. With pranks, Rich, especially on YouTube, things can get out of hand. You mentioned it. Carlos documented that in the film. It can get out of hand very quick. How do you judge where your line will be and then how close you're going to get to it?
Excuse my language. Just don't be an ass. Seriously, like these guys on YouTube, they go out and they really harass perfect strangers, hurt their property, and do things to them that get garners tons of views. And so I just have to just draw the line and say, I'm just not going to be a jerk. I'm going to do something that might scare someone, but I'm maybe unbeknownst to, you see it on YouTube and it looks like maybe more intense than it is, because I might go to someone in a cafe and say, hey, I just noticed your brother went to the bathroom. Do you want to help me prank him? So now I've got their permission, and then the guy comes back and he sits on my chair, and if the chair's me, and I scare the living crap out of him, it's like, well, I didn't do that to quite a perfect stranger. And so that's what you're not seeing on YouTube is some of the behind the scenes. But so that's what I do. I'm not going to go in public and throw an egg at someone's car. Unless it's your car and your sister's in on the prank. You know what I mean? There's got to be a reason for that to happen.
To add to that real quick, I don't know if you picked up on it, but when he did the karate coin, when he stuck his finger through the coin, that footage was filmed by me and his camera for his channel, and I went around that day with Rich, just around San Luis, and doing various pranks. I don't know if you remember the snot one. It's just a fake, fake gag. It's what I picked up from Rich is that even when we go like in Bubblegum Alley or whatever, he looks, he reads the signs, he reads people. He doesn't just run into a situation and go expect a reaction. He kind of formulates everything and goes, okay, who's the right person here? And like you pointed out, if you're going to get someone in on it, that's sometimes even better because you can get an even bigger reaction. So that was an interesting perspective, filming it, being behind the camera and just kind of witnessing that.
Last question before we get to the audience, the jacket thing. And forgive me if I'm going too inside baseball on this. You call it like that car wash phenomenon where you're inside the car wash and you feel like it's all moving by you. How are you doing that? What is going on with the jacket?
Well, it's funny, in the video, which I forgot that was in it when I was sitting next to my wife, I was like, what is that he's showing? And that was from another YouTube channel, the how to do this little...
Right.
And that was like on my YouTube video, I taught a simple version of a trick you could do to fool your friends. But you can see that you're bending and the whole bit, but you see in my version, my head's down at my crotch, and you can see through my legs, obviously a much different version.
Right.
And I can't tell you much more about that, except I'm freakishly flexible.
Tracy must love that.
I'll do it right now. No, I don't want to do it.
All right, let's go to the audience. Are there any questions for Carlos, Brooke, or Rich? Please, right in the middle. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
I don't know if you guys know or not, but I was in Las Vegas for 15 plus years. I've seen this guy for 20 plus years. And he is better than Steve Wynn's personal magician. And he is better than the personal magician who was at Caesars. This guy was #1 sleight of hand in the United States, if not once or twice or multiple times. So if you get a chance to see him personally, it's beyond...
Okay, give him that $20. Go ahead. No, that's incredible.
Thanks, Dad. Those are $100 bills, not 20s.
No, that's
Rolling
phenomenal.
story.
And honestly, that's got to be really exceptionally rewarding to hear because you talk about magic, and magic is big marketing. And the theme tonight, I was kind of thinking as I was like having dinner before this, it was like seeing someone like you. Like we're so lucky to have someone like you in this area because we're not a big market area. We're not a San Francisco or an LA. And coming up, Dean and Mandy's video, we're going to see big market talent right here in SLO. You're big market talent right here in SLO. So I imagine it's a very rewarding thing to hear.
And I know Ty for a long time, and he's great. He fixed my leg. I was told by one doctor I couldn't walk again after a bad injury, and he got me walking, so.
Amen. All right. Any other questions for Carlos? I see we're going to go to you in a second. We'll go to this gentleman right here. I'm sorry, the lights are bright, so please stand up and be very nice and loud. Sir, in the white, go ahead.
Yes. Hey, I have a question for Carlos. One of the effects I saw in the movie that I really liked was the photo and the separation between the foreground and background.
Good catch.
I was just wondering, how did you do that?
So,
Don't tell him.
I mean, yeah, you know, again, you beat me to it. Exactly, yeah. Well,
Okay, so the gentleman asked, there was that photo, there was those pieces where Carlos showed a still photo, but it seemed to separate and fade away from the background of the photo. And the gentleman was asking what cinematography, or I guess in post, what you did to create that.
So, my brother Kyle, we collaborate on everything. He's filming the Q&A right now. He picked up a lot of the editing. I can't take most of the credit for the editing of the pictures. He did an amazing job, and I don't think the movie would really be what it is without what he did. So give him a hand. That was an effect actually created using Adobe After Effects, and it took a lot of time. I will say that, you know, he and I both were spending hours at a time working on each photo, trying to cut each one out and replace the background and add the blur. And it even got to the point where one of Kyle's teachers at Dixie State University actually texted him and asked, "How did you do that effect? Can you teach me?"
I love it. Teaching the instructors. There was a question right in the middle. The lights are bright. I don't know if it's Amir or what. Please stand up and be very loud. Yes, go ahead.
What's the difference between a social experiment and a prank?
What's the difference between a social experiment and a prank? Great question.
That's an interesting question. Yeah, they do overlap a little bit, but a social experiment would be something like doing somewhat of a gag or a prank, maybe not even a prank, just a question to someone on the sidewalk that's going to raise up other ideas, like helping homeless, or making you be aware of how unsafe it is a woman puts their purse on the back of a chair, or whatever it is. It's a way to bring something more aware to the subject. A prank is literally just surprising someone or shocking someone or scaring somebody or whatever it is for the sake of doing that. You know, there's really no story to it.
Very good. More questions, put your hands up. We're going to get to you. I want to ask Brooke really quick. In putting the music together for a film like this, obviously you got comedy, you got match, you got a lot of different themes. How are we creating the score that is going to be the undertone for a film like this?
It's magic. I think the fact that Carlos had a real specific vision for this film, and with Kyle editing it, they really captured what Rich was all about. I didn't meet Rich until tonight, and I will say that I felt like I knew him simply because of the way that everything was crafted together, and they told a story. And in writing music to picture, it's really important that I don't take away and simply just enhance whatever it is. You know, music is sometimes referred to, if you know John Williams and what he does and a lot of different prolific scores, he's the oxygen to the music, and really it's just a storytelling element that happens in post-production. You know, the one thing I do is look at and see the pacing and look at the vibe and the emotion. And going back to what was happening in the beginning and those still shots and they were moving, that was so critical to creating an absorption for the viewer, I felt like, that I can really create some space and hopefully pull you in a way that's not obvious. And I hope that translated.
I think the most fun, and I was telling this to Rich earlier, was that there's a part where Rich says, shape the magic. I took that clip, I asked for the audio clip of that, and I stretched it out into a, I slowed it down, and I pitched it up an octave, and then I pitched it up another octave, to the point where I actually created a synthesizer out of him saying, shape the magic, and I actually wove that in to one of the scenes in the film. So that was my own, I don't know magic, and I don't know how to perform magic, but that was my own magic trick, was to take something that Rich was doing and to organically put it into the film. He was playing a magic trick the whole time, within the music, and that was my job, is just to simply support what the story was. This was not just about magic, this is about something that I think a lot of people can connect to, and I think Carlos had a really great vision for that, and I hope you guys all connected to it as well.
A hand to Brooke for doing that magic, doing that music within the film. It was beautiful. Really good.
Brooke is the next big thing in the movie music industry.
Right? I just imagine like your wife brushing her teeth and you're like, dun, 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 dun.
She's a dental assistant too, so.
We have more questions? Please, right there in the middle, I see your hand up. Go ahead, stand up, be nice and loud. Thank you.
Carlos, great job on your film.
Thank you.
Rich, hi, Karen here. My husband and I know Rich just from playing or doing his magic at many events that we've had. But my question, Rich, and I think most of the audience wants to know, is what is the most or the best prank you've ever done on Tracy?
Oh wow, best prank you've ever pulled on your wife, Tracy.
Yes, on your wife.
That's an easy one.
The twins? One and two, boom, like that.
What's the other half of your
The
question?
other half of my question is, your beautiful twins, we love seeing the pictures. Are you teaching them magic? Are they following Daddy's footsteps? Or is Tracy saying no, no, no?
We're a funny house. We play hide and seek since they were 1.5 years old, and they're really good. So we are a house of kind of like silly stuff. So I don't teach them magic in the sense of like I'm teaching them the steps of magic so they can perform for their friends. They're 3.5. They're not there, but they do watch and mimic me. They understand the concept of, my dad's a magician, he's leaving to work. And my daughter just recently said, you look so handsome, when I put on a suit. It's just really sweet. So I'll take an object and I'll make it vanish. And they go, wow. And they'll take the same object and be like, it's gone. So they play and pretend. So they're making up magic. It's hilarious. Kids are awesome. But as far as the best prank or magic trick I ever did on my wife, we dated for a year before she ever saw me do magic. And I'm one of those people that I keep, and there's a few magicians in the audience here tonight, they might appreciate this story. But there's a joke in the magic community, is like when you get introduced and there's the wife or the girlfriend, and they go, oh. And it's really kind of weird, I don't know why, but it's true. And I never used magic to hit on girls, I never used magic to meet people. It was in business, because I got into it so late. So I had a different kind of background with magic. And when I met my wife and my friends, they all knew I dabbled in magic. And it was like we were dating a while before I got off an event in Santa Barbara, and it happened to be close enough that I drove home in my whole outfit. I had all my gizmos ready, and I was on fire because it was still a close enough drive that I was still on that 2-hour buzz after an event. And I pulled into this restaurant, and I met her and all of her girlfriends and a couple of my other friends at this place downtown. And I was ready to perform. I was like, let's do this. So I just started doing magic for her and her friends, and that was the first time she saw me do magic, I think. If not, maybe at the Madonna Inn when we were like pre-dating. I levitated on the dance floor one time, and she was like, that's really weird. To answer your question, I have a really good story for you. When I proposed to her on Valentine's Day after we were dating for 2 years, I didn't ask her permission to put the ring on. I literally just snuck it on her finger. And then she noticed when I was in the shower, and I was really hoping she wouldn't, but she did. And there was screaming coming from the bedroom, and I was like, dang it, I wanted to be part of that moment. And so I come running out, and she started crying, and then I proposed to her officially. But I guess the best prank was
Put a towel on?
who knows? That's another movie. But yes, I think my favorite prank on her or trick was sticking the engagement ring on her without asking her first.
What a great story. Do we have time for one or two more, Randy? Do we have time for one more? All right, do we go more? We've got a few more. In the aisle right there, sir. Go ahead. Nice and loud.
Yeah,
So if someone wants to get into magic or know more about magic,
Is that
there
what
are
that
a
was?
few. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you going to ask something? Yes. Am I on the right track? Yes. Okay, great. Okay.
She just read his mind?
So in the movie, in the documentary, it does talk about.
You don't even...
In the documentary, it does mention, and I was explaining to my buddy Rick here, there's things that I said that was based around me getting into magic, not so much how it is today. And so I did say in the documentary, there were magic shops. I wasn't influenced by magicians. I didn't see magicians on TV. That's because I grew up in Pozo. We had no TV. I had no exposure to magic. Once I got adopted, I moved out to the boonies, and I didn't know anything about magic until I was in college. And after I got into magic, Rick, my buddy Rick here, opened up a magic shop in Cambria. And then over the years, a few more magicians came. Now, there's like 12 magicians that dabble. There's like 3 or maybe professionals-ish, but there's a handful of us now. That wasn't here 20 years ago when I was getting into magic. I wish it was, because it would make life a lot easier. So long story short, I think you were going to ask, where could people go to be involved with magic, right? And so I think that, talk to me afterwards. We have an informal magic club. We meet like once a month, and you don't have to be hardcore into magic. If you just like to mess with friends, come hang out with us. We meet at different places. Usually IHOP on Madonna Inn.
All right, let me do one more question that you don't read the person's mind. Sir, you're back there. I feel in red. Nice and loud, please, sir. Thank you.
Rich, I love the fact this is the Slow Film Festival. We recognize a lot of scenes. I can't think of a better combination than you and Bubblegum Al. I'm wondering, you went to Pozo after this terrible childhood, and Salinas and Carlos were going to ask me too how it was that you kind of glossed and made his childhood look almost happy, because I know it wasn't. But with you, Rich, how does the Central Coast shape you and your magic?
Good question for all 3 folks before we end.
How does Central Coast shape me and what?
How does the Central Coast shape you? Finish the sentence, sir. And your magic.
Well, that's a tricky one. It shapes me because it's a great place to sit and think and be calm in your brain. That's for sure. It's a lot different than Crazy Salinas. My aunt's here I grew up with, and we got reunited when I was 22 years old, and she could tell you a lot of crazy stuff. But yeah, this is paradise, and so it's a great place to be calm. It's a great place to think. But it's not a great place to work for me. It's not a great place to collaborate for me, because there are other people in the industry that I'm in, YouTube and stuff. So as far as how it shapes my magic, it doesn't. I'm in my home, my basement, tinkering and coming up with ideas. I could do that anywhere in the world. It really doesn't matter. So it doesn't shape the magic at all, to be honest. It's actually a very difficult place to perform at. It's actually a very difficult place, believe it or not, to do pranks, because everyone knows me. I'm walking around like, let's go. Oh no, can't get doing that. Oh. And plus, it's kind of a reserved kind of area. You go up to someone to do a prank, and it's almost the vibe is like, let me consult with my friends or my lawyer first before I, partake in this. It's not like in LA. If I go into LA in 30 seconds, I can knock out a whole video, because there's 300 people walking by a minute, and they want to be filmed. They want to be messed with. Here it's different. I mean, there's like 3 streets I can play with, and there's usually no one out in the afternoon.
Carlos, how does the Central Coast shape your art?
Central Coast is an amazing place for, filmmakers, photographers, anyone, any artist, and I think Brooke can agree and attest to that. I mean, it's an amazing place to shoot and just to, sit and think and get ideas. I mean, driving out to Paso on 46, you just look out over those sweeping hills and you can see Marble Rock from there, and you're just like, oh man, I just have amazing ideas, put on some music. I think it's a great place to, to grow up. I've lived in Cambria my whole life. I was born in San Luis, and it's just been absolutely incredible, and I'm very lucky to live here. You mentioned how I did kind of gloss over the childhood, and I don't think my goal was to make it seem happy. I think my goal was to move forward almost, because there has been a piece done. Someone interviewed you about your childhood, and I felt not only has that been covered, I think it's just something that I think the most important part about Rich is what he's doing now and how he took that and basically completely moved on, completely, turned away from that and created a successful life for himself, which to me is extremely inspiring. And so I don't think I really wanted to focus on that aspect of his life as much as I did what he's doing now. And so I think that was kind of my thought process behind that.
Brooke, how the Central Coast shaped your art.
I used to play punk rock music right across the street where they've expanded Woodstocks. Used to be called The Dwelling. So I never thought I would be going from that to writing music in a capacity where, a little fact, I actually got engaged in this room right in the back to my now wife, Brittany, who's sitting back there. And this community is so, we're a small community, and I think we really latch on to, if you're a musician, you want to hang out with your musicians. One of my best friends, Casey Weber, is right back there. We were playing in our garage in Paso Robles, at 15 years old, trying to sound like Blink-182, and we never got there, and that's okay because we got better and we got into new things, and there was a community of people that really inspired us, to do something. I think that was, what can we do that is beyond what we think we're capable of? And I think this is a really great community for that because we don't have a lot of resources. So we have to create our own resources. We're not Los Angeles, we're not San Francisco, we're not New York. So what do? We turn to the people that we know, we turn to the people that we trust, and in turn, I think that has really given us this opportunity to create a community, not only in terms of musicians, but in terms of businesses. And I think that is something that with Rich, in a way, I respect and I admire because in a way he was punk rock. He was the guy doing something no one else was doing, and he didn't care what anyone else thought. So it's easy for me to latch onto that and to write to that and to foster that into something that hopefully would help inform this film and his story. So that's all I got.
Give it up for Brooke. Your director, your cinematographer. Show some love to Kyle Clover. Ladies and gentlemen.